Coming up next will be the Stock 110 class for riders between the ages of 8 and 12. These riders gaining some experience. Some of them yesterday saying that they had never been out on a racetrack with rain tires on before, so that was a great learning experience yesterday afternoon. And rain letting off just a little bit here right now. Take a look at the championship standings. Chase Jazikoff coming in as the point leader after 2 races yesterday is a 14-point advantage over Mason McIntyre.
Yeah, Christian Berlowitz also there in 3rd, Braun Masanga 4th.
So excited. Alan Clifton, we talked about the local rider sitting back in 5th, and Owen Smith in 6th. But this was after 2 races. We have 2 more races to go today, so there's still a lot of points on the line for all of these young riders. Tasneem Salem, you can see down there wrapping out the 15 riders here in the Stock 110 class, and she was not out on the racetrack yesterday afternoon in the rain, so we'll see if she gets out there today.
I think she might. She got out there in qualifying this morning and was able to get 9th on the grid, so hopefully she's able to line up for the race as well in the wet.
Chase Jazikoff, that was our pole sitter yesterday. We saw as the point leader, having won both races yesterday, qualified on the front row again, but Christian Berlowitz was able, with this different track configuration, the reverse course, he was able to qualify on pole.
Yeah, and what a great lap. But yesterday he was in that battle for 2nd and 3rd, so he's got to get a good start. It's really close with Chase right there, and also Braun only a couple tenths back.
These riders I mentioned between the ages of 8 and 12, they're going for a Dunlop Team Elite consideration if they're able to finish on the podium after race number 4 in the championship. Great opportunity for them to be able to continue their racing progression, continue up through the ranks. You can see a mix of bikes out there. We've got some Kawasaki's, a few Hondas.
Can hear them revving their bike up, Jamie. They're on the other side of the track, and we can hear it in the commentary booth.
See the number 22 there, black and pink leathers. That's Tasneem that we were talking about. Didn't go out yesterday afternoon. See, she is ready to go here today. Some of these riders, as young as they are, Roger, yesterday they were pretty impressive, just how they were able to manage the pressure. They were able to stay patient and just ride in the conditions that they had in front of them.
Yeah, and able to adapt to different conditions as well. A lot of riders talking about yesterday was the first time they seen a track in the wet. I think we seen a couple crashes, but you know, that's just part of learning, is learning the limit in the wet, and sometimes that's having a little tip over, but all the riders were able to get back up, trying to get back in the race, because every lap's important when you're this young.
Any of these young riders, we're being told right now there's going to be a 5-minute hold before they release the riders out on the racetrack. Any of these young riders impress you yesterday, Roger? Anybody stand out?
A couple of the riders. I think Zoll was really impressive, the way he was able to do in the 110, the way he was able to win and check out. But the Jazikoff brothers as well, they were pretty impressive also.
Here's a look at the starting grid for the races here today in the Stock 110 Championship. Christian Berlowitz mentioned he was able to earn our pole. Chase Jazikoff, you just talked about those brothers right there in the middle of the front row.
On the 2nd row, Karina Tancredi there, Ryan Berner, and Mason McIntyre.
Go back to row number 3. That's where you will find Tasneem that we talked about. So Cy Alan Clifton there in the middle of row 3.
See row 4, Jira Masanga there, 11th, and Owen Smith, 12th.
Chip Lampley and Zachary Tancredi rounding out our 14 riders here in Stock 110. Just another mention, if you weren't with us yesterday, we did have 15 riders in this class when the weekend started back on Friday, but unfortunately in one of the practice sessions, Reese Rouette had an incident and ended up breaking her femur and having to go and have surgery yesterday morning, so she's recovering. We send her our best wishes as she watches the rest of the Stock 110 riders go through this championship running weekend.
Unfortunately, not going to be here this weekend, but watching it on TV, still be able to kind of learn and come back next year. It's just unfortunate and, you know, part of the game, but we expect her to come back stronger than ever.
See officials all around the racetrack. Good opportunity to say thank you to them for being out there and weathering the storms with all of these young riders that are out here this weekend. Our TV crew as well, our cameramen are around the racetrack bringing us all of these phenomenal pictures. It's a really great look at just the whole area.
Corner workers doing a good job too when riders have gone down, getting up there on the scooter, getting them back in the race after a warm-up lap. So to your point, they've doing a great job. The camera crew also out there with their equipment. So we appreciate those pictures and that work.
See the Dunlop sign there in the background. Dunlop's putting a lot on the line here this weekend. We mentioned Dunlop Team Elite consideration for our podium finishers in the classes, but also for the GP classes, giving out the same Dunlop guitar that our MotoAmerica champions get. That's pretty cool. All right, sighting lap. These bikes, Roger, these young riders. One of the older riders yesterday said, "Well, the kids don't really think all of these things through, right?" But you raced when you were this age. What do you look for on the sighting lap?
Well, I think that they're just, if you're a parent, you're hoping they just make it to the race and don't make a mistake on the warm-up lap or the sighting lap. I think it's the big thing, but, you know, it's going to give them a little opportunity to, I think every corner you do in wet conditions, you can learn a little bit and just take every lap. Even if it's an out lap, just try to be careful and make it to the race. But even as for a kid, when somebody passes you on the sighting lap or the warm-up lap, you naturally just want to go quicker and try to pass them back.
Yeah, these kids are all very competitive walking through the paddock and listening to them. I mean, they have a lot of fun together. We saw them yesterday blowing bubbles and dancing in the rain, and Dunlop had a pizza party for everybody. They had ice cream after all of the racing wrapped up yesterday afternoon. They're all friends, but as soon as they put those helmets on, they are little competitors.
And they know what they're here for. There's a lot on the line for these young kids. You talk about 6 AMA #1 plates up for grabs. There's some pressure on them as well.
All right. They are releasing them out to the racetrack. Pit lane open now for the sighting lap here for the Stock 110. Class race number 3. They'll have another race later on this afternoon. This race also shortened from the 7 laps that we had yesterday. Race number 3 will be 6 laps planned. A little less time to make any moves if they're going to make them. Christian Berlowitz able to finish 2nd and 4th. In the 2 races that were yesterday, our pole sitter for today. Just hoping to move up and maybe get a race win as well.
That'd be great. That would definitely make things a little bit more interesting going in to race 4 this afternoon if he could close the points gap down.
And Chase Jazikoff with the pair of wins yesterday, able to earn 50 points out on the racetrack. He also got the 10-point bonus that was awarded for making it out to one of the qualifying races. So comes in with maximum points, but a little bit of ground to make up in terms of pace. Qualifying off of the pole today, so we'll see what he's able to do now in race conditions. It's not about the 1 lap anymore.
All these kids did a great job on that sighting lap, slowing down early as they got close to the grid when everybody started slowing down.
See, they're all going to their grid positions. 1 team member allowed to meet them out there before their final lap, before we get ready for racing. The warm-up lap will be next, and then it all comes down to what they can do over the course of 6 laps. We talked about this yesterday, Roger, and the grace afforded to these young riders and helping them get into their grid positions and making sure everyone knows where they're supposed to go and the right things to do, and it's all part of the process.
Yeah. And lining up on different sides of the track today. Yesterday, pole position. I know it's confusing for the kids. It's been confusing for me. I've already got it wrong once, so it has to be tough for them as well.
Looking at our grid sheets, it is backwards from what we were looking at yesterday. So to wrap our mind around it for today, you see the 22 at the back. That was Tasneem Salem, able to get the bike going, but this is the final opportunity to see the racetrack. Final opportunity for a practice start. The Jazikoff brothers yesterday, Roger, with the race victories they were able to earn in the different categories. You go into the overnight, and as a family, I know their plan was to go back and watch the races. You remember those nights at the racetrack, racing with your brothers?
Big time, and those were the fondest memories that I have is racing, is those nights. And you mentioned the pizza party with Dunlop, and they're having a water balloon fight. Those are the things I remember, and just going over those little notes with my brothers, my family, and that's just, that's going to be great for those brothers. They're going to have somebody that's going to be able to push each other throughout their whole career, and that's going to be a huge advantage.
Looks like everyone is staying patient here on the warm-up lap as well. You talked about it after that siding lap, just how impressive all those kids were getting themselves back around. Looks like they're able to do the same here as well.
You can see Chase right there. He can barely touch. He's got the seat cut out to make it lower.
See the focus with the clear visors here in these rainy conditions today. See the focus on their faces. The lights are on, and we are racing here for the Stock 110 class.
Great start for Chase. They're going to lead them down into turn one.
See a little bit of shuffling there mid-pack, so everyone can get through clean, keep it up on two wheels. It's a great start for Chase, but he's also able to pull a little bit of a gap this opening lap with no pressure behind him and clean track ahead.
See one rider down toward the end of the pack there, picking his bike up, going to try to get back in the race.
See the yellow flag waving to alert everyone else behind him.
I believe it's Owen Smith on the Honda. Chip Lampley also on the Honda. I know it's a red bike, but the rider's up. Corner worker's doing a great job. Going to try to get them back in this race, but Chase Jazikoff's going to lead them around for lap one.
Pair of race wins yesterday. The pressure on the rest of the field to try and make up as many points as possible.
Mason McIntyre, good move down into turn one, able to take over that third spot.
Racy here on early stages of this race. Mason, one of those riders whose family has put in just a ton of commitment to get him out to the racetrack each and every race weekend. At 12 years old, he's switched over to homeschooling, and talk about wanting to pay everybody back for all of the hard work. Yes, it is fun. Yes, they have great memories that are being made out here, but they also need to stay focused and realize that they're out here with a job to do.
There's a lot of pressure on these young kids too. You think about there's only 4 races that's going to decide a championship, a number one place, so you can't really afford one mistake if you're one of those guys battling for that top spot.
Saw Karina Tancredi there on the 403, this battle for 5th. She finished 6th and 5th yesterday, so this will be another strong run. Just 4 laps to go. These races go so quick. the pressure from Ryan. Berner, he finished 14th and 7th, so it's a good competitive run as he gets around Karina.
You can already see today that from the race yesterday how much more comfortable these kids are and more confident. We didn't see a lot of passing in yesterday's races in the wet. And you can see today they're already not afraid to make a move on the brakes.
That is the battle for 5th as we go back up toward the front. Chase Jazikoff continuing to lead the field. He's opened up, you can see the gap there that he's been able to open up over 2 seconds now. But Mason McIntyre with the best lap of the race. You saw him with a lot more confidence, making that move early. There he is on the number 33.
Braun's doing a great job too. It's going to be a good lap for both of those guys. They're quicker than the leader. They were able to take out a little bit over half a second. It's hard to stay patient when you see you're catching the rider in front of you in these tricky conditions. You just want to give it the throttle and try to make it all up in one lap as we see Braun making a mistake. Able to pick it up.
It's going to give Mason McIntyre the position, but Braun able to get the bike, see if he can get it rolling, get as many of those points and positions back as possible. About 2.5 laps remaining. Here's a replay of that incident. Just had the pressure from behind.
Yeah, you see the rear end just comes around in the front also for him, tucked under. And those wet conditions, that's just what happens. That's part of it. Maybe a little more lean angle or a little more throttle than the lap before.
Go back to the 422 of Chase Jazikoff. Came in with the points lead here in the stock 110 category. Having won the races yesterday, just 9 years old. He's had a great weekend. It was quick in the practice sessions on Friday as well. And
he's definitely been the guy to beat in all conditions. He's kind of pulling it back out these last 2 laps.
Take a look at the championship points. We have another rider.
Chase.
Oh, it's Chase from the lead. See the official there to help him.
Looks like Ryan Berner there in 4th. He gets out in front of.
And you could see Ryan throw his arm up. He was not happy with where Chase rejoined this race. Oh, now back in. It looks like he's back in 4th. Maybe in 3rd. Making quick work of getting back on the bike. Certainly going to help him get as many points as possible. Here in the closing stages of race number 3 for the Stock 110 riders. Mason McIntyre now with the race lead. Christian Berlowitz sitting in 2nd. Chase Jazikoff down to 3rd.
It's a great recovery for Chase to pick that bike up and get right back in that race and still be in 3rd and going to collect a lot of points. Braun also inside the top 6 there, picking his bike up as well.
Good recovery for him as you see the number 33, Mason McIntyre, catching the tail end of the field here on this final lap. Mason able to finish 3rd and 2nd in the first 2 races yesterday. This would be a first race victory for him here this weekend. We talked about the big commitment that his family and his team have put into this season. So for him to be able to get an event win here this weekend, it's a great way to repay all of that hard work. Taking the checkered flag and the victory, Mason McIntyre. Finishing in 2nd, Christian Berlowitz. Nice podium result for him as we watch as the rest of the field comes to the checkered flag. Chase Jazikoff able to finish in 3rd, collecting 16 points for him. But did you hear Mason screaming inside of the helmet
happy
as he crossed the stripe?
You can see the smile, still talking to himself.
Certainly pumped up after that one. Yeah, big wave to family and team around the racetrack. Pumping the bike. Stayed patient. That was one of the...
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Just didn't make a mistake. Even in the lead, the first time you lead one of these big races, there's a lot of pressure on you not to make a mistake.
Qualified back in 6th on the second row. Take a listen to this replay, Roger.
Just see, look at his face. See what it means? I mean, you talked about it, how big a win for these kids would be today in one of these races, and you see it right there, perfect example.
He's only been racing for about a year. Just fell in love with the sport, and his family said, all right, if this is what you want to do, then this is what we're going to do. And they have certainly gone all in over the last 12 months to get him to a moment just like that. They're all going to remember this one. You see there Mason McIntyre with the win. Christian Berlowitz there in second. And again, Chase Jazikoff able to pick the bike up and finish third.
Yeah, Ryan Berner there fourth. Braun Masanga fifth. Karina Tancredi there rounding out the top 6.
So excited. Alan Clifton back in 7th. IJ Cavazos in 8th. Jira Makinga in 9th. And then Tasneem Salem didn't go out in the rain yesterday afternoon, able to finish inside of the top 10. And a couple of riders with some issues, but another opportunity to race this afternoon. Celebration on that cool down lap continued for Mason McIntyre. Just 12 years old, but look how aware he is of the cameras and blowing kisses to everybody watching at home. Big congratulations to him. So much personality out of these young riders. It's really been fun to watch them come out of their shells a little bit as this weekend has gone on. Riders go back to the pits now after race number 3 here for the Stock 110 class, Roger. And while we've been watching the radar and looking out the window, still some sprinkles falling. What do they do to get ready for the challenge of the final race of the weekend?
I think the big thing is you just kind of watch the track and keep seeing how much it's going to change and see if we're going to get any more wet, or is it going to start drying possibly?
Coming up next will be the Street GP race number 3. Those are the Honda Groms, just 3 riders in that category. Bodie Page having won both of them yesterday, but flipped the script and changed the race direction. We'll see what the other riders have today. Again, that will be the next race that's out on the racetrack. See, Mason McIntyre just walked in front of our window, helmet off now, and a big smile still on his face. Congratulations, Mason, getting that race win here, race number 3. There was a lot of action happening all around you. You had to stay patient. You had to stay focused. How'd you manage that pressure?
I just listened to my coach. He told me they moved it down to 6 laps, and because I had a terrible qualifying, to get past everyone I could as fast as I can, and then just work my way up and be patient and play it smart.
When you realized you were leading the race, did you get nervous?
I couldn't afford to. As soon as I get nervous, it's just I'm going to end up like the other 2 people. I couldn't afford to have that happen to me, so I just tried to stay calm, cool, and collected to finish the race.
We were watching as the leaders were going down and looking at the rain continuing to fall. What was the track like out there?
It was slippery in some spots, but on the flat road, it was nice. On the downhills and the uphills, it was definitely a little scary. But overall, the track was pretty good. And then, of course, having those Dunlop tires, just gripping everywhere for me.
What's the trickiest corners here with the track being wet?
Probably the, would that be turn 1, 2, 3, I guess, turn 5, that uphill to the chicane. That's very hard. I mean, I almost high-sided there, but I saved it. And then that downhill after the left, that downhill to that another chicane, that's also pretty scary because you're just like, you know, in the wet.
As you get ready for the final race here in the Stock 110 later on this afternoon, what do you want to work on?
It's just like trying to, pretty much just try to repeat what I did, I guess. I don't know. Just try to get ahead of the 2 people on the start and then not almost high side, I don't know.
Well, great job here this afternoon. I imagine when we see you out on the grid later on, you're still going to have a smile on your face underneath that helmet. Great job.
Thank you.
See these young riders, 14 of them, making their way around on the sighting lap. Here's a look at where they'll line up. Our pole sitter, Christian Berlowitz, alongside Jace Jazikoff and Braun Masanga.
And row forward, Karina Tancredi there, starting on the inside, then Ryan Berner and Mason McIntyre.
Go back to row number 3. You've got IJ Cavazos, Soksai Allen Clifton, and Tasneem Salem back out now that it's dry. Row 4. See Jira Masanga there with Owen Smith. And then our final row on the grid for these young riders between 8 and 12 years old, Chip Lampley in 13th and Zachary Tancredi in 14th.
Time to crown another champion.
It certainly is. You can see the team members meeting him out there. Make sure everybody gets lined up correctly. Time to crown another champion. Here's a look at the championship points. Just 5 points separating first and second, with Cooper Jazikoff with the 5-point advantage. Going into the race. All right, warm-up lap. We have a problem at the back of the grid. Number 22, that's Tasneem Salem. See if she can get the bike fired and get underway for this warm-up lap. She'll be able to get back to her original grid position. See her now rolling. It's good to see. This was a great race earlier today, but it was still raining pretty hard at that point, and you look out the window right now, Raja, that rain has stopped. Track's starting to dry out. We saw yesterday afternoon when it started to dry, it really dried pretty quick.
It's this race for sure. There's a lot less puddles, and it's gonna dry out a little bit, but still gonna remain wet for these guys. Kind of like the race they had yesterday.
It's a 5-point advantage that Chase has over second place. That's Mason McIntyre, who is sitting in second. See if he can get another race victory, another big smile under his helmet. Riders still with the rain jackets on, some of them. We're hearing now that Tasneem, after getting the bike refired, made her way around, but having an issue with one of the tires, and she's not going to be able to take the start here today. So she'll have more races in front of her for sure. One of the young riders out there. Underway here, the final race for Stock 110.
It looked like Christian Berlowitz really willied off the line, but was able to recover really quickly and take the, looks like maybe out front there with Chase Jazikoff that knocked down, but Chase is in second. So rider going down there, that turn 2. It's been a tricky one.
And a lot of frustration. I believe that was Karina that went down. See if she can get the bike picked up and continue on in the race. Looking out the window, they have the bike off of the racetrack. She doesn't look like she's looking to get back on. Take a look at the replay.
Yeah, just see right there in third place. Just the rear end came around. The same crash kind of we've seen. Just, you know, early on in the race, maybe got on the throttle a little bit too hard. It just went down.
Christian Berlowitz leading.
You can see what it did to the pack, though. It got the top two guys. Christian really did a great job recovering from Willie off the line. I thought Chase was for sure going to lead him down into turn one, but Christian shut off the throttle a lot later on the brakes.
4:22, that is Chase Jazikoff, having won both of the races yesterday. Coming into the action here with that points advantage, just 5 points. We talked about this in the previous race, Roger. If you are aware of the points, you know what your job is, you know what you have to do. Do you settle for second place, or do you push the issue and go for a win?
I think you should settle for the title, but I think it's hard for a kid to think about all that while they're out there riding and they're just thinking about winning this race. So some of the other classes where the kids are a little bit older, I think they can think a little bit more, but we see him going to try to go for the win. I just think it's hard to try to settle down a kid who wants to go out there and win.
Just 9 years old, and again, this class open for riders between 8 and 12, so he still has a number of years left that he's eligible to race here in Stock 110, and getting out front.
Took the lead.
Now put the pressure on Christian. If you want to come out and win this final race of the weekend, you're going to have to get around the rider that's leading the points. Christian just 1 year older, 10 years old.
Looks like we got another rider down into turn two, able to pick the bike back up.
Looks like it's getting back on the bike. Here's the current championship points as they run right now. Chase Jazikoff would have a 17-point lead over Mason McIntyre, but then 18 points back is Christian Berlowitz, that you see here in second right now, and then Bron Masanga, who's currently running fourth out on the racetrack, would finish fourth in the Stock 110 championship hunt as well. 25 points for a win, 20 points for second. Third place collecting 16 points. Look at the head down for Mason McIntyre. He had so much speed in the rain earlier today.
Him and Braun's having a good battle. Mason was able to get a good run out of that last corner and make the pass.
So Mason's able to move himself up into third. That'll close up those points just a little bit, but with Chase Jazikoff out front right now collecting the full 25 points if he's able to hold on to that race lead. There won't be a chance for Mason to move up any further, but he knows what he needs to do as well, and if he can't get to the front, he can't go for that championship.
Still a solid weekend, consistent rider, really riding well. As we see Christian Berlowitz have a mistake there into the chicane.
Looking over his shoulder, seeing where the rest of the field is, see if he can get that bike refired, already back on board. We have a replay from our drone. So wait to see if you see the grass and the mud stuck on the side of that bike. Here's another look at it, Roger.
Yeah, just see they're going to get into this chicane. It's on the left side. He goes right. And once he starts to go left, you're just going to see the bike just go out from under him so fast. In wet conditions like this, it comes around so quick. You don't have the opportunity to try to save it. And we've seen that a lot. And I mentioned the track when it's just wet like this, not really soaking wet. It is the slickest conditions.
And what that's really done now for Chase is taken all of the pressure off of him. He doesn't have anybody to worry about over his shoulder. You can see him looking right there. He doesn't need to force the issue. All he has to do now is just finish this race, not make a mistake on his own. And he has not only another race win, but he'll have a championship.
He keeps looking back like he can't believe it. Like he thinks when he looks back, he's not seeing anybody. Feels like he's missing it.
You think for a 9-year-old looking around like, well, did I miss something? Was I not supposed to be out here? That's just a great weekend. We talked about him and his brother yesterday, both able to take wins back to the pit area. Great weekend for that whole family as the white flag has now been shown. This is the final lap of this 6-lap race for the Stock 110, the final lap of their Mini Cup National Final. Number 1 plate will be handed out to all of the champions. Chase Jazikoff now just a few turns away from adding his name to that list of riders who have been able to collect that coveted hardware.
Mason McIntyre's did a great job matching Chase's pace, but he just lost too much ground early on. They're both in the 108s for their best lap. You can tell Chase, though, we mentioned, is he going to push it hard? He slowed down to 111s that last lap, 3 seconds off his best time. So just a smart rider, being aware of the situation.
Mason McIntyre did everything he could, to your point, Roger, to get himself back up into contention, still putting those lap times in and continuing to grow and improve. But here comes Chase Jazikoff for the race win, for the championship title. Great run there for Mason McIntyre to finish in second. And then Braun Masanga able to round out our top 3. You can hear it revving it on this cool down lap. Certainly a lot to celebrate for Chase Jazikoff. 3 race wins.
Revving it up.
3 wins out of the 4 races. Very challenging conditions, changing conditions. A lot to learn for all of these young riders. 2 different track configurations. When you think about all of the things that these young riders have dealt with over the course of the last 3 days, and you can see they're now taking the number 1 plate home. 3 podiums, wins, of course, and for Chase Jazikoff, he's going to remember this weekend for a long time.
Just such a good rider, really young. Just watching his racecraft this weekend has been pretty impressive to see. Just the way he played this race out perfect, put himself in the right spot. You can see just what it means to Chase. We talk about the pressure on these kids to come out here and win these titles, and you see how excited he is.
We saw the lap before when he was looking over his shoulder. That was the moment I think that he really took that deep breath, and you could see the pressure fall off of his shoulders. He knew that it was all on him to just not make any mistakes. See the family celebrating out the window. Now here's the results from this 4th and final race. 4.3 second gap between himself and Mason McIntyre. Great ride for him, and Braun Masanga right there to round out the top 3.
Christian Berlitz 4th, and Jira Masanga, they're rounding out the top 5.
Good top 5 results for those 2 riders. See a couple of them having some issues. We saw it wasn't a perfect race for everybody, but able to get those laps put in and take some lessons home from this incredible event. See everyone accumulating right out there in front of our building. Getting the bikes parked and meeting up with their families, their friends, their supporters, their teammates, all over there for the big congratulations. At the end of all of the races later on this afternoon, that's when we'll go down to the podium and we'll hand out all of this hardware. We're going to get through all 6 of these races before we start doing that later on today. So you're certainly going to stick with us all the way to the end and see these celebrations. Here are your final championship standings for the Stock 110 Championship with 101 total points. Chase Jazikoff with a 10-point lead over second place of Mason McIntyre. Braun Masanga able to finish in 4th, and a lot of these riders with a number of years left, eligible until they're 12 years old. So look forward to seeing them out there again next season. But right now, here is our 2025 Stock 110 champion. Congratulations on this title, Chase. Job well done today.
Thank you.
Chase, how was it with another track with some different conditions that we've seen earlier today?
It was actually pretty fun. I'm starting to like the rain now.
You learned a couple things this weekend, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We saw you look around for a minute, like one lap before the end of this race, and realizing that you didn't have any pressure from behind. What were you thinking in that moment?
I was like, should I slow down so I don't crash and all that?
You said you like the rain now. What do you like about it?
When I actually have like the right tire, it's actually like fun to like ride in it.
Get to go through all those puddles and really have some fun out there. It looked like that was a fun race for you as well. How did this one compare to your race wins from yesterday?
It was pretty good.
You got anybody you want to thank?
I think Dunlop.
You had fun with those Dunlop rain tires, I can certainly tell. What about your family, everybody that's helped you get here this weekend, your brother? You guys went back last night and celebrated together?
Mm-hmm. I thank my mom and dad and my brother for helping me out.
That is awesome. You guys worked so hard this weekend. Congratulations on another race win, but also congratulations on being our 2025 Stock 110 National Champion. We'll get you your number 1 plate at the end of the day, but now you get to go back and wait for your brother to ride.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you a little bit later. Well done, that young rider. A lot of years ahead for him, and you can see how much he loves the sport.